Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Nerds in a Podcast. Happy 2026. We are in a brand new
Woo!
year. Also, this is our last and final installment of Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 3. Brr, 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 brr.
2026, the first full year without a pending Stranger Things season.
Yes. And I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really care for the ending. I did not. I was really disappointed in the
Really?
ending. You know, for once,
Okay,
I'm
listen, I'm
actually
gonna say, like, as a whole, it was not top tier. I think it had really good moments in it though.
I think it had good moments, but I think overall, especially with the 3 volumes, this volume was like my least favorite. It was not like it was just 2.5 hours and the Vecna fight was 3 minutes long.
Yeah, and Vecna, it was Vecna and like the mind flayer.
Hmm.
But like, where was the Demogorgons and the
Yeah,
Demodogs
like
and the
I'm
and the
like
bats that killed my husband Eddie? Like, where is everything?
for once, I have to agree with Wyatt on this take because I was just really upset the way it ended. I feel like it didn't tie things up nicely for me. I think that I'm really disappointed. Not disappointed that 11 didn't die, but I think that her being sucked up into the void would have tied things up more for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that she's still out there in
Yeah,
theory.
I mean, I feel like that might just be like Mike being super hopeful because, like, I mean, obviously, when we see 11 standing at the entrance to the Upside Down and the Upside Down is like slowly collapsing, like, Kali would have died at least a few seconds before 11 did, so the illusion would have been gone. So that's why I
Yeah.
feel like it could be just like the writer in Mike help helping him deal with the fact that she's gone, just like he'd rather think of her just being out there somewhere. uh
Gosh, I hope not.
but like, I to me that almost like it was almost like an immediate like backtrack of everything, because like literally right before she quote unquote died, she had an in mind conversation with Mike, and she's like, I need you to help everybody understand my decision, and I need you to help everybody get through the grief they're about to go through with my decision. And Mike's like, I don't even understand your decision. And she's like, I know, but you will. And so I feel like that was just like an immediate backtrack of like, just kidding, she didn't actually die, and he's coping with
Yeah,
thinking that
like
she's out
I
there.
yeah, I think that they could have done a little bit better on the ending, in my opinion, compared to the other seasons and how like season 1 was just life changing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Season 1 and 2, I saw somebody pointed out seasons 1 and 2 felt very grounded, very thriller-esque, but not necessarily like actually scary, but very grounded, very real, very like, because it's in Hawkins, Indiana. The
Yeah.
frick happens in Indiana, you know? So it's just like it went from being like a super grounded, amazing show to, which somebody else pointed out, to a Disney Channel original movie with a really big budget. And I was like,
Yeah.
but I think unfortunately, with the way a lot of streaming services and just things that are quote unquote successful in today's market, it the second they get a bigger budget, they think they have to do bigger things with the show. And it's like, no, you could still keep it a small show. Like, let that budget go towards everybody getting a pay raise for, hey, thanks for taking, cuz like I remember talking about season 1 with one of the guys I used to work with, and he was saying like the it's very unusual for people to go in to like basically like a pitch of a show with like a hope and a prayer, but that's exactly what the Duffer Brothers did. They didn't have a pitch deck. They didn't have like the things that you usually go into basically an interview with. They were just like, listen, I know it's not much and I know it's like very much just a vibe, but this is what we want to do. And somebody at Netflix was like, yes, I can see the vision. And they did. The first season I thought was great. Did it still have plot holes? Yes, because nothing is perfect. And hindsight is always 2020. But I feel like they didn't have like they needed somebody for like continuity in this show because things happen and then all of a sudden they just don't exist anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
You're like, okay, I guess we're just done with that. No, it's fine.
Yeah. I think the season slash series finale for Stranger Things was quite a jump better than the series finale for Game of Thrones.
I agree. I do agree. But I think it was leading on the same lines. It was
Oh,
getting there.
yeah.
It was
Yeah, I
getting
know.
there.
Yeah.
Also, I it leads me to believe that the Duffer Brothers didn't have it planned from the beginning.
No, they did not.
Like they've been saying, they have had always had the ending in mind, and I'm like, the 3 minute fight with Vecna, you could have put that in an email. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
especially cuz like so
Like we spent 10 years fighting him, and you just kill him in 3 minutes.
yeah, with the same ragtag group of teens slash adults. No, I mean, Will had some superpowers now, but like that's really the only thing that's changed is Will
Right, like
has
everything is
some
still the same. They're just like
superpowers.
older, and
Yeah.
Eleven's like a little bit stronger, but like not much
Yeah. Although I'm still mad like 11 did all that training and I was like, "For what? You didn't even do
for her to serve
anything."
face the entire.
Yeah, literally. Man, those memes are popping off and I feel so bad, but also like that's what happens when you start doing stuff to your face when you're young. Um, she's not even
Yeah.
30.
Also, I'm like,
She's not even
you
close
want
to
me
30.
to?
And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, you're trying to make me believe that this is a teenager in high school.
and like not even just like a regular teenager, but like a supernatural teenager who really doesn't even know how society works.
Right, like she could barely talk. Fucking 5 years ago, she could barely pronounce words. And
Yeah,
now
or
she's like
read or
serving
anything like
face.
that, you know?
Oh, dude, yeah, that was like the most distracting thing in the whole show. I'm
And
really
it got
like,
worse.
it
It
did.
got
It got
worse
so
as
much
each volume
worse.
came out, and I was like, because when we were watching volume 1, I was like, okay, this is distracting, but it might be because I'm focusing on it too much, right?
No,
And then like this volume 2, and I was like, oh no, it's like so because like now we're starting to get into like the deep emotional section,
yeah, and she has the
and she's
same
got
face
yeah, she's got like
throughout the
no
entire
emotion. I mean,
series.
and when you look at her when she's little, she's got the most expressive, like she'll have like when she frowns just a little bit, like the greatest frown line in existence. And I'm like, that's gone now. She's just like a smooth balloon.
Yeah, I don't think that helped it at all.
No. I will say though that Will's coming out scene made me cry.
Yes.
And I think that's the only time I've cried in Stranger Things. And I know
I
the
was
only thing I wish they would have changed, I didn't think everybody and their grandma needed to be there.
Yeah, it's like, why is Mr. Clark here? Did
Yeah.
he really need to know
And
this?
Hopper for that matter. I was like,
Right, like all these people.
and yeah, Collie and like I think it should have been like a Joyce, Mike, and maybe like a Steve and Robin kind of just like in the back and Jonathan. But I was just like, I didn't, and I think that's kind of the hard part about, like, we went from Stranger Things being about this group of kids trying to find their best friend because he went missing, and then coming across this other random child that has superpowers. And then they're like, okay, so now we have them. And then now we have everybody's partners and everybody's siblings and everybody's parents. And I'm like, I think we've got too, I think there was too much happening.
Too many hands in the pot.
Yeah. Like, it was too much. It was too much. And it
Yeah,
got,
especially like, yeah, I agree. Especially like when Robin was like with her girlfriend and all these. I'm like, these are why is everybody here right now? What added value are you guys bringing to the table?
I think too,
Because
like,
you're just in the
people
way.
stopped dying in
Yeah, and
the
I'm like,
last couple
I feel
seasons.
like if this is the season you're gonna kill somebody off, you should have done it.
This is honestly, this should have been like a red wedding situation where just like almost everybody gets annihilated,
Yeah,
you know?
except for the ones that we cannot, that are the do not kill list.
Yeah, Dustin, Steve.
Steve, yes,
Everybody else, free game. Dustin and Steve, not allowed.
and
And
Will. I
Dustin's
feel like
mom,
Will can't
obviously.
die.
But also too, I think like somebody again, I've been getting like nonstop critique of this series finale. Somebody else had pointed that it was very much a background show this season.
Yeah,
It's something that
yeah,
you're on your phone, half paying
yeah.
attention to it, you're cleaning and half paying attention to it. And for those of us that are like really into it, like I don't have an eye, a single 31-year-old lady with no children. I do not have all the time in the world to sit down and watch a show. So
Hmm.
I know anybody who has more than that on their plate definitely doesn't have enough time to sit down and watch a show. But I feel like people should be, especially with things like Stranger Things, you should be striving to make people want to sit down and pay attention and
Especially if you're gonna make it
remember.
2.5 hours long.
Yeah, you're making it like a
Because
full movie. I'm
yeah,
thinking like I'm thinking Avengers level situation is about to go down. And honestly, that the tiny little battle with Vecna, that was top notch. I have no notes on that section except where are all of the Demogorgons, the Demodogs, and the Demobats?
yeah,
Where is Vecna's army?
yeah,
Because
that he like
yes,
sends out every time to get them. Like,
yeah, and I get like the gang like killed three of the Demogorgons or whatever, but I'm I'm pretty sure he hasn't been like maybe those were like his like three cronies that he sends out into the real world, but like where's like his generals and his like tight knight circle? Like there was just, I mean, I was just so confused because it was the most plain battle that I have
yeah, I
ever
was like
seen.
really, I was like, if you have spent 10 years fighting Vecna, trying to understand, and this is just it. He's the strongest guy ever, has all these powers, is this fucking, and then it's just over like that. He just dies from a rock in the ground, a
Yeah,
pointy rock.
yeah, a pointy rock and all 5 foot something of Joyce Byers chopping his head off with an axe.
Yeah. I'm
Which
like, this
I
is
mean, rock on for Joyce. I love that for her. But also just like so the whole thing with Henry is that he was like the mind flayer was like, I need you to help me take over the world. And Henry was like, yes, I'm in. And like, Henry didn't want to get rid of it. He wanted that part. And so it's like, at that point, that's when like the mind flare comes out and you see this giant thing. But like, the mind flayer is not an idiot.
see, but also I wish they would have like
So it
for
should have
two
been
and
a
a half
huge
hours
army. Yes.
2.5 hours, I feel like they should have dug a little more into at least the mind flayer.
Yes.
Like
We
Henry's
could have
memories.
learned so much more. Like the when we learned that Henry got a hold of like this like supernatural entity because he came across a scientist in a mine. Henry was just a poor little boy scout. He's just
Yeah, like
out
he
there climbing the
yeah.
rocks, having a good time, and like that memory scarred him. He was like what, 9 when he
Yeah,
killed
like
that
young.
scientist guy with a rock, which is brutal in general, let alone for a 9-year-old boy scout. But that memory terrified him so much that he literally left Max alone in his mind for like 2 years.
Like it also doesn't like wrap up what even like the mind flayer was. Like I wish they would have like dug more into that. Then I don't know. They could have spent more time with that. That's why I feel I'm like you guys did not have this plan from the beginning. Especially this is to tie it all up.
I almost wish that this, because it was a movie basically. So like Eleven's gotten 4 and 2/3 seasons about her and her story and her friends and everybody. I feel like this movie literally should have been about Henry. Like,
Yeah.
screw wrapping up everybody's stories. It should have been about Henry. It should have been filling in everything we didn't know, and
Yeah.
just like special guest appearances by the kids that we love. But like,
Yeah.
cuz we get to see like a lot of it with Holly. We get a lot of like with her being dragged into Vecta's mind. We get a lot of Henry and a lot of like how he connected with her. We didn't get to see how he connected with any of the other kids, which I thought was crazy. Like I feel like that's
Yeah.
something like, did he literally like let Holly loose and then let Holly come and get them? Did he, I mean, I think he's the one that went and got them just like he did Holly, but it seems like he laid like a lot of groundwork with Holly and no groundwork with any of the other kids.
Yeah, they were just there for decoration.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. Um but also like 11 just, she's been training all that time for what? I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole like little last minute sequence of them battling the Demogorgon and like that whole situation, top notch. But that was like what, 5 minutes of this entire two and a
Yeah.
half hour
Two
episode?
and a half hours and there's like 10 minutes of fight scenes. I'm like expecting them to go all out. I'm like, this is it. This is the end. You guys have spent this long trying to figure out and then that's it. Okay. Well,
Yeah, and
that's
I feel
fine.
like too, like I could kind of see where they were going for maybe like a Lord of the Rings esque kind of thing where you have, the fellowship, you have the main gang, and the fellowship's made up of like 7 people. So like that's a lot of people to deal with, but also they get separated into their own little groups, and we get to fully see what each of them are doing, and then they come back together for final battle, but it just
Hmm.
didn't they didn't work it the right way for this season
Yeah.
finale, because we spent almost the entire 2.5 hours with everybody.
Yeah. I think that it was they started off I thought that like the beginning was going to be so it was going to be so good. I was so hopeful at the beginning of this
I
season.
Yeah, I remember I was talking with my boss who also watches Stranger Things, and I started watching it before he did this final season, and he was like, "So, is it good so far?" And I told him, I go, "Honestly, the rating for this season is very much going to depend on the last episode, because I
Yeah.
wasn't impressed for the first 2 volumes." I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
it just
I could see us like building up, but I feel like too, cuz like the older episodes are like 45ish minutes, I believe. And so this season we're getting into like 1 hour, 1 hour 15. And I'm like, okay, so you're having like a more playtime within each episode, and they just didn't do anything with it.
They didn't. They like didn't like just they could have done so much more, I feel like. And then also I feel like a lot of like the acting to me, not every character, but some characters just were just not worth it to me. Like Mike honestly could have used less screen time in my opinion.
See,
Um
I think that's not necessarily, I think that's just a problem with taking too long to make the show.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if
that is
you,
true. Also,
if,
why did we have to take 10 years to make this show? I don't understand.
yeah, that's unfortunately the consequence of streaming services and studios being like, oh, well, we want it now, but also we're not going to give you the budget now, so you're going to have to wait and blah, 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 and yada, yada. Um, but I think like one of the consequences of having very young kids at the beginning of the show and then keeping them for so long is like if you go and look at the first season, none of the kids acting is like mind blowing. They're just kids and they're acting like kids, but now a lot of them are older. A lot of like kid actors do not become actors in their adult lives. Like I hardly know, I maybe know like a handful of kids that went from kid actors to fully adult actors. So I think that's just a thing of growing up. I don't think the actor for Mike is going to pursue acting as a career. It's probably something
But
that
I feel
they
like
got.
he is though. Isn't he in like he's been in like a bunch of other movies and stuff.
Has he? Okay,
Yeah,
well
he was
he's,
like in It chapter 1 or chapter 2.
but that's like the same thing as Stranger Things. It's not outside of the genre. But also too, I feel like that could be a consequence of Millie not wanting to be in any quote unquote intimate scenes
They
with
should have just
any. They
like
should have
give
broken
them
up,
both left screen time. Yeah,
or
they
they
should have
should have
broken
had
up.
them break up.
Yeah, cuz like that was just like
Because, like, in the beginning, you're like, oh, cute, they think they're going to be together forever. But anybody who lives in the real world knows that very few people have their childhood or their high school
also like this
sweetheart be there forever.
especially one that's wanted by the government that has been on the run for the last however many years.
Yeah.
um you think that's a good idea?
I mean, it's also the 80s. Like, I mean, like, how many, it's like having, murders solved about serial killers. They just didn't have the technology for any of that. So, I mean, her getting caught at the end of the day, very unlikely. So, but also, I feel like Mike's one of those characters, he doesn't really like change. So he's one of those guys that is like, this girl, gonna be with her forever. This town, we're gonna live here forever. And so, and anytime that something is gonna have to change, he's gonna try and keep it all the same, besides that one factor. So that one factor for him would be them moving. He's like, that's fine. We can never come back to Hawkins. I don't care. But as long as everything else stays the same, then I'm okay. But I just, Stranger Things is not about the romance. It's not about their romance. It was
That's
always
about having their
about,
friend.
yeah, it was always about the kids having a connection to a girl who knew nothing about the world and them deciding, like, I mean, it was a D&D campaign come to life,
I
to
will
learn
say I did like that they had like Holly was playing D&D with all her
with her
friends
friends.
and dipshit Derek was there.
Yeah,
I did like that
delightful
colorful.
Derek.
Oh yeah, delightful Derek, my bad. um I did like that. I will say there was good moments in the show. Just overall, not my favorite. But there was good moments, I will admit.
Yeah, seasons 1 and 4 I think are my favorite seasons. Um I did like 2, and I like, again, like I feel like in like 3 I like pieces of 3. I don't remember 3 Hardly at
I like
all,
3 because,
except for Scoops Ahoy,
yeah, Steven Scoops Ahoy. That's the best
and we
part of
get
season 3,
Robin.
honestly. That's, like, the best part of season 3.
That's the only thing I remember from season 3. I literally do not remember what Mike and Eleven were doing. I don't remember any of that. I think that's the first season we got Max as well, right? That's when she and her hot stuff of a stepbrother came
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Yeah, that was, like, the
Billy.
summer with the mall and Billy and
Yeah.
yeah, and then, like, Hopper was with the Russians, which I still don't really fully understand.
See, and that's the other thing too is like which Wyatt pointed it out is that like they just kind of like forget stuff.
Exactly!
And
They
I'm
were
like,
like
but that's kind of been unfortunately a thing since the beginning because like Barb died and they were just like, okay, yeah, she's gone, and we're like,
Yeah.
are we gonna see like how Nancy's dealing with that? Is there gonna be any kind of like timeline change because Barb died? And I mean, they did make Nancy struggle with it for a bit, but I'm just like, okay. And then, a few other people have died over the seasons that were not super important. And I'm just like, so we don't. Like, honestly, I think Eddie, even though he just died last season, is the most remembered as far as like storyline went because they talked about him a lot this season. It was
Yeah.
always like, Dustin and especially during Dustin and Steve's fights because it was always over Eddie. Oh, you idolized him, and he's like, well, I don't want you to end up like that, and blah blah blah, and yada yada. So like, I feel like Eddie's probably got the most complete storyline, and he was only on for a season.
Yeah. I think they definitely did not wrap things up in a nice little bow. They definitely left some holes open.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like, it might be one of those things when you're creating, especially like I feel like it's very prevalent in writing when you're writing something and you have one vision for it and then somebody's like, oh well, I think you should do this, and then somebody else is like, well, I think you should do this, and then so you kind of try to take people's suggestions and critique, and then unfortunately it spins out of your hands and no longer becomes your idea. That's what this season feels like, is they were like,
Yeah.
oh, like somebody, it feels like somebody, and I don't know if it's the Duffer Brothers or if it's somebody at Netflix, but somebody went, this is the list of things we need to happen in this season. I don't care how you do it. And so it was just this weird, like, oh, okay, I guess we'll do this here and we'll do that there. And we'll have, Nancy and Jonathan do this anti proposal. And then we'll have Dustin get beat up because he's trying to keep Hellfire alive and keep, Eddie alive and blah, 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 and yada, yada. And it was just like, that's kind of a weird, like, timeline of events.
Yeah, like everything is not like wrapping up nicely. It's
No.
not flowing. It's not, to me, it just was not like a well rounded enough like finale. And even like throughout the show, I mean, I feel like they could have definitely like rounded things. Like nothing just was like a nice little well rounded little circle bow. To me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like the season finale probably suffered the worst because it feels like they wanted everybody to have a happy ending
Yeah. Which
of
is like crazy.
some
So
degree, you know?
side note,
Yeah.
like a little side tangent. I'm rewatching Breaking Bad,
Hmm.
and I don't know if you've ever watched that show, but that show is so well rounded and so well written, and it makes me just wish this is what would happen with Stranger Things, and I'm just disappointed. Anyways, that's my side tangent.
Yeah. I think with Stranger Things, I think the press, honestly, is probably the worst part because, again, and I don't know if it's just the Duffer Brothers being like, I've created this amazing thing and it's I did this and blah 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 and yada yada, that they're like, oh yeah, we've had everything planned out since the beginning, and it's like, okay, But because like I like to like write in my spare time, so like when I'm one of those writers, I have to write in sequential order because otherwise I just lose the plot entirely and I just don't like I get stuck. So it feels like they almost like they had a loose idea of what they wanted the ending to be and then they had to just like ad lib the season, you know? And I'm just like, I feel like we could have. And then I imagine with how many people are involved in Netflix shows, like, there had to have been better planning. But also, I would like to hope that the people working on this show, like in the writing section of the show, one, watch the show, but also two, are fans of the show. Because then you would see, oh, well, this is missing, and this is missing, and this is missing. And like, and a lot of it could easily be, you know, ramified with a simple throwaway line. Like I remember Wyatt brought up, he's like, so the upside down is no longer like poisonous because everybody's just like walking into the upside down willy nilly, no hazmat suits like they did in season one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, that could have been remedied with some scientist at some point going, now we know that the upside down is no longer poisonous to us.
True.
Like it
True.
literally just could have been like a little, just like a mini something the Russians said, something somebody said somewhere that was just like, we now know this environment is not poisonous to us. And then somebody else had brought up the fact that it's not cold in the upside down anymore. But literally, I was watching it with Lauren and I was like, I need to know what temperature the upside down is because everybody is wearing a very different degree of clothing.
Yeah.
And like,
Like
nobody is
Hopper's like
sweating.
fully like Hopper's like fully like jacketed up.
Yeah. And like,
He
here's
looks
the
like
thing.
it's like winter.
Yeah, if it was cold, then definitely some of the smaller, skinnier girls would be like, oh my God, it's freezing. Or they'd be like, like trying to warm their fingers up. Or if it was actually warmer than it used to be, because, maybe Vecna is like global warming the upside down. I don't know. But then like Hopper would be sweating because he's a big
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. And
So
they're
I
all just
don't.
fine.
Yeah, and then to the whole like, which I know we've said about 1,000 times, Collie coming back. I was just like, I literally think we could have done this entire season without her.
Yeah, we didn't. You know what? That would have been one like plot point. I would have been fine with that one episode.
Yeah,
And then
and
just
then
being like, all right, that was weird, but okay. But then
which
bringing
is
her
what we
back
did
still
because
didn't
that
really
was
make.
like season 2 or 3, wasn't it? Season 2?
Yeah, but it's still like when bringing her back, it just didn't add fucking anything.
Yeah,
It's
especially
like
because
you could have
11's
left
had
her
no
out of season.
contact.
Yeah, like that random episode and like her just being in there is just fucking weird. Like I get it. She's like a sister, whatever, but like she just didn't add any extra value to the show, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then it was weird too because she was like, I know Henry. Like, I know him inside and out. And it's like, okay, Collie, if you know Henry that well, then what on earth are you doing to help stop him? She was like, from where she stands now, she was absolutely, as soon as she got out of that science experiment, she was absolutely a okay. I mean, I know she didn't know Henry was alive, but after she met 11, she would have known. I literally, if you meet somebody who is literally a number and they're like, yeah, this tiny town I live in with this really creepy lab that Papa had me in still, now there's like a monster haunting the town. Collie should have looked at her dead in the eye and went, oh crap, it's Henry.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
has to be Henry.
Like
And then
she
like,
just was
she was content with letting Hawkins just like get swallowed up by the earth. She was just like, sorry, 11, I don't know what to tell you, but like, have a bitchin' time. Good luck.
yeah.
Like, okay. I will say, I do love watching Hopper throw daggers with his eyes every time she speaks or every time she's
Mood.
near him. I'm like, same, Hop, same. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
I, there's just, I mean, in the moment of watching it, I really did enjoy it. But it's one of those things where like I'll probably rewatch seasons 1, 2, and 4. I'll skim through see I'll probably watch a couple of episodes out of season 3, and I honestly don't know if I'll watch anything out of season 5.
Yeah, it
I
just
don't
was
think
not.
season 5 is
Ugh,
very rewatchable.
no, it's not. It's so sad. Especially being like a diehard Stranger Things fan from like the beginning.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's just so disappointing. They could have done so much better. It was, like I said, it had good moments, but just overall, it was just sad.
I think they had
Disappointing!
Yeah, I think they had too many characters in play. Although I did see
I agree.
somebody, I guess, had like one of their friends was like, "So did Susie and Dustin break up?" And it's like, I mean, probably they were one long distance in the 80s. Long distance with today's technology is hard enough. So I can only imagine in the 80s where you could phone call and get on a plane and write a letter. Those were your options. So, also, he met her at space camp, and not every character needs to end up with a
Also, Dustin's
significant
going through
other
it,
by the time they
okay?
graduate high school.
Yeah. And my boy's
Like,
going
I
through it.
liked that Lucas and Max ended up together because any man that would replay your favorite song every
Yeah,
day
you know what? That's
over
the
and
one
over
couple
and
that,
over and then run down a
yeah.
hospital
Hmm.
hallway with you in his arms, you keep that man forever.
Yeah. That is the one couple I was like, they need to end up together, and everybody else, I really don't care.
But yeah, so it's just kind of I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know if they had all the right people on this project to keep it cohesive, and I also think too they went too big too fast. Because now we got
Yeah.
like this whole last season the military was there. And I'm like, okay. Now, listen, I know military occupancy isn't the funnest thing to be a part of, and I understand it's the 80s and it's the military, the United States military, but like it was just like once the upside down exploded, um there nobody was in jail.
Right. Like everybody
No,
was
but
just chill.
yeah. I mean, like who was it? Jonathan, Robin, and Nancy all got to go to college. Steve's working with children. I'm like,
Yeah.
so nobody gets repercussions for
Also,
exploding the
does nobody have
military.
PTSD?
That
Right, because this
too.
is like I feel like Will, the at least he should be in therapy. Like, how is he just chill? Like he's spent his whole life being kidnapped by Vecna, and nobody has PTSD.
Well, and I'm kind of surprised too because, like, so you would think, like, I can understand Will in particular that just becoming like something he expects out of everyday life, which is really sad. But the fact that, like, they showed him at the end, like, out and about having a social life, that's the kind of,
Oh,
like, odd thing because I'd be like, if I went through all of that, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody ever again.
yeah, and also Max just being like Max. Okay, listen, the whole Maxing. This girl was in a coma for how long?
I think she was in there for 2 years. I
And she
think
just graduates with everybody else.
it's the 80s.
Like I'm like, okay, she learned nothing though.
I
Because she
feel
was in
like,
Henry's mind for 2 years.
yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations where, which happens rarely, even though people would like it to happen a lot more, where you go through something like really super terrible and really super bad, and they're just like, you know what? I wonder if she took her GED. Um, because she's
Maybe, but she like
smart, but
she is smart, but also like I feel like when you've been in a coma for 2 years,
yeah, but I also think
you
too
do be
because
forgetting some things.
they were under military occupancy anyways. Um, so I feel like it's just one of those things that it became a whole, because the US really loves a whole giant mess, and they just go, you know what? We'll just sweep it under the rug. It'll be fine. These people will be fine. So we let, a handful of people graduate who don't know anything. It's fine. That's how I take it as. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's a giant plot hole." I just think it's literally a comment on the government going, "You know what? Just sweep them under the rug. What's the worst that could happen? It's fine." And you go, "Okay, I guess."
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I was like, I don't know.
But it's definitely like, when I told my boss, I was like, "It's really going to depend on the season finale." Like, yeah, was it in the moment, it was very exciting, and it was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we're building to something great." And then you see it and you're like, "Okay." And then you reflect back on everything. You go, "Actually, eh, hmm." So, what would you rate the series finale? Just the 2.5 hours, and then we'll rate the season.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 because there was good
Yeah,
moments, but I did not enjoy it as much as I think I could have. Overall, I would give it like it's tough because it's still Stranger Things, and I still liked it, and there was still some good moments. So I'll give it overall a 7 out of 10.
I think I'm giving the finale and the season like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, like it was just like
And
compared to
most
what
of
it
those
could
points
have
are going to
been.
come from the fact
Oh,
that Steve the Hare Harrington has looked the hottest he has ever looked
yeah, with
in
the
this season.
backwards hat, chef's kiss.
I'm rating everything a 6 out of 10, the season and the series finale,
Yes,
mainly because Steve has looked the hottest he has ever looked.
yes, with the backwards hat,
And the
amazing.
cozy cream sweater. I love that sweater.
Yes, if it wasn't
Um,
for Steve, this show would be ruined.
and Dustin, even though they drove
Yeah,
me insane when Dustin wouldn't tell Steve what was actually going on, I'm gonna just tell him. But
yeah,
that when he was like, "Steve, don't go up the stairs because I don't want you to die," and then it turns out Steve would have died if he had gone up, across that
yeah.
ladder. Like, their
Dustin saved his life.
reunification was like, "Oh, my
Thank God.
babies." Yeah,
Kiss and makeup. But yes,
yeah.
I think
Also,
that. No, go ahead. Go
during the
ahead. Go ahead. Go
during
ahead.
the series finale, when Steve was standing way too close to the edge of that tower, and I'm watching him literally fall off of it, I'm like, "There's no way. There's no way they're gonna kill Steve." And then Jonathan fucking Byers comes in and grabs him. I'm like, I have never been so thankful for Jonathan in my life.
Yes, good job, Jonathan. The one
Yeah.
good thing you did this season.
Yes. Yes. Also, Nancy looking like Ripley from Alien. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah, I think it could have been better. I'm sad. I'm sad, but I'm glad it's over because we don't need any more Stranger Things, especially after this season.
Yeah, I think they just took too long to make the show. Seasons
Yeah,
1 and 2, I feel like were really good because they did them pretty almost back to back,
yeah, they were
and then
still little
they
babies.
yes, and then they took a little hiatus, which I get, but then they took a hiatus between 2 and 3, and then they took an even longer hiatus between 3 and 4, and then an even longer hiatus. And I'm like, no, there should be like a max for hiatus. And I know Millie Bobby Brown's got like, she had movies and stuff happening, but guess what? A lot of those movies also Netflix movies. So I'm like, I feel like we could have like waited or rearranged the schedule, Netflix.
Yeah,
That seems
I
like an
agree.
internal problem. I can understand if she was like if she was doing like a friggin' Pedro Pascal where she had a movie with every major movie studio within a year. But like, but that's when you just kind of like start like writing her out in certain things and then just film when you can with her kind of situation.
Yes,
But yeah, so yeah, Stranger Things ends at season 4.
yes. And if you
It
haven't
is.
watched it, it's okay. You don't have to.
Yeah. Mm, it's not life-changing like I would hope it. I was really hoping for basically almost like the TV version of Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Um and I got the Timu version of
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I'm like, think we could have. I don't know. I think a lot of more thought could have been put into it, but also too, I feel like Stranger Things originally worked, especially the first couple seasons, because we didn't know anything. We didn't. We were
Yeah.
just as lost as all of the characters, and so I feel like the more that they tell us is when you start poking holes in everything, and then it's just kind of the more time you put, the worse it gets. Like we can't look
Yeah.
back on it like any original movie trilogy for that matter and be like, oh, yeah, it was so good. Like, I feel like that's why, like, a lot of times, like, things like Supernatural is freaking 15 seasons, but a lot of us look at it like, oh, it's so good because they filmed a season every single year,
Yeah.
every year for 15 years. So it just like the passage of time is clear on screen, whereas like Stranger Things has jumps in time. So a hot mess. I had a fun experience watching it. It was very exciting. It's very exciting when the world gets together to watch things like this
Hmm.
because then we're all like, "Ooh!" Unfortunately, the aftermath not so much fun.
Yes, I agree.
Any final thoughts, opinions, closing
No,
statements?
just disappointed. My mic's been giving me issues all episode, so that's not fun.
No, the even the podcast is saying it's time to go. Um,
Yeah.
so if you've watched Stranger Things at all, and particularly the series finale, let us know your opinions down below. Also, while you're down there, follow us, subscribe, whatever you have to do on whatever your platform you're listening to us on. I did look the other day. We have like 230 followers on Instagram, and I was like, "Whoa, look
Wow.
at us go!" I think we have 41 followers on Spotify and like 30 something on YouTube. So, thank you everybody who has subscribed for the past couple of years. Um, we're excited for all of the content we're going to be doing this year. Lots of new
Yes. New
things.
year, new content.
Yeah, but the same two silly hosts forever.
Exactly.
So we hope you guys had a fabulous 2025 and we hope you have a fabulous 2026 and we will see you guys in the next episode. So bye.
Goodbye, everybody.